We've considered obliviousness of a driver in a number of previous videos. In this video, we're having a look at it in the context of reversing. One of the identifying signs of a driver who's oblivious is that the driver continues their path of motion at a consistent speed. If they had noticed something or they were aware of what's happening around them, you'd find that they'd either slow down in order to brake and avoid a situation, or speed up in order to also try and avoid a situation. But where they just travel in a consistent path and speed, it shows they're not aware of what's happening around them. That's what we see in this animation. So you will have noticed the driver of the red vehicle just traveling at a consistent speed. And as I say, that's one of the identifying marks. The characteristic trait of somebody who's oblivious is that they just assume that things will be safe. They don't think further as to the possibilities of where things can go wrong. So because of that, they just assume they can reverse, it'll be safe, there won't be any oncoming vehicles. Whereas a driver who's more observant and alert will realize that there are those hazards that can quickly arise, and so they pay more than the usual attention than somebody who's oblivious. Yeah, we've got a real life clip to just demonstrate what we've seen in the animation. So the driver of this vehicle has climbed in, is starting to reverse. You'll see just reverses at a consistent speed out into the road. This driver, if they had been more alert and observant, would have seen that there's a motorcyclist that comes past from the right. And if there's one road user that has come past, then there's a chance that there are other road users. But obviously this driver is not paying attention. A cyclist manages to come past safely. But because of they're not thinking ahead or being considerate of others, just continues to reverse out into the road and then strikes a passing vehicle. For this driver then, they had clear line of sight. Had they looked out the right windows, they would have seen that there's a vehicle coming along from the side here. So that shows that they just climbed into the vehicle, didn't think further, just assumed that it'll be safe for them to start reversing. In this real life clip, we've got this person that's going to climb into their vehicle and start reversing. In approaching the vehicle, they may have noticed that there's nothing, no obstacle surrounding the vehicle, and then just assume that once they climbed into the vehicle, that it would be safe and clear for them to reverse. However, they hadn't taken into account that there's a pedestrian that's crossing the road and would find herself in the path of this vehicle as it's reversing. Just to stress the point then that I made in the introduction to reversing, that when it comes to reversing, we have to constantly be aware of what's happening behind us, because the situation can change rapidly, as was the case here. The driver may have thought that the area is clear, but didn't pay attention to what was happening behind him or her, and so this incident took place. So when it comes to reversing, we can't just climb into the vehicle, look in the rear view mirror, see that it's clear, and then assume that it's safe to go. It also is not good enough for us to climb in the vehicle, look in the rear view mirror, and then at periodic intervals check in the rear view mirror. No, we've got to constantly be aware of what's happening, not only directly behind us, but also to the left and the right of what's happening behind us as well. And if we constantly pay attention while we're reversing, then it would be easy to avoid an incident such as this. This real life clip I've included for a specific reason. Now I'll play the clip and then I'll just mention a few points. Okay, just going to pause it at this point. So let's have a look at a number of things that this driver had done wrong. Firstly, the driver had reversed into the pavement area, aside from the fact that there was a wheelie bin standing there. But had there not been a wheelie bin, the driver would have reversed straight into the pavement and not into this little driveway section if the purpose was to be able to do a 3-point turn. So that's the first wrong move. After having struck the wheelie bin, the driver now goes and stops the vehicle in the middle of the road, which is an obstruction to any passing vehicle. So you don't want to now stop in the middle of the road, rather pull the vehicle forward out the way and go and have a look and investigate what the problem was. It stops the vehicle right there, climbs out the vehicle, doesn't put the handbrake on, so it rolls back into the wheelie bin again. Then climbs out the vehicle and tries to remove the wheelie bin, but now the wheelie bin is wedged between the vehicle and the pavement. So it has to pull the vehicle forward again and now stops the vehicle right in the middle of the road a second time. So why I've included this is it just shows the level of thinking ability of some road users. And I highlight that because as we on the streets in real life, we can't just assume that other drivers will do the right thing. That's where we make a fatal mistake. We always have to assume that other drivers will do the wrong thing. And when that's our mindset while driving, then we're always in anticipation of things going wrong, and we're always planning an escape route. And that's the purpose of the course. They're the 3 golden rules, which I'll put a link to in the description section of the video below. And have a look at those 3 golden rules. And if you can put those golden rules into practice in your daily trips on the road, it's going to make you a much better driver because you become more skilled at being able to read the conditions on the road and to plan an escape route accordingly. In this last real life clip, we've got a van driver. It stopped in the road and now starts reversing. You can see this is more of an open road, so higher speeds involved. The driver, instead of pulling off onto the shoulder of the road in order to reverse, is now reversing not only in the middle of the lane, but even more towards the center of the road and reversing at quite a speed. From the distance here, had the driver checked the rear view mirror, the camera would have been quite easy to spot, directly in the line of sight. So it's not as though the camera was hidden or obscured by anything else on the road here. And despite all of that, the van driver still continues to reverse straight into the camera. So once again, just showing the obliviousness of drivers on the road, and for us to be cautious and aware of drivers not doing the right thing and expecting them to do the wrong thing.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.